The only thing you need in this life for you to be successful is the grace and the mercy of God. Not by might, not by certificate, not by what you know, not by who you know. If you know what I'm talking about, you will not play with your spiritual life. That is why you see many billionaires today pray and fast more than every other person. It is a different thing entirely for you to get money, and there is a different thing entirely for you to keep or sustain the money. Please, I'm not saying going to school or having certificates or having someone who will speak for you is wrong or is not helpful. No, having certificate, going to school, or having someone who will speak for you is a supplement to the grace and mercy I'm talking about. Please make sure you watch this video to the end and help me to share to your friends so that they can also benefit from this video. Today is Sunday and I've decided to bring this devotion to you using Daniel as a case study. We'll be taking our reading from the book of Daniel, chapter 1, verse 5 to 15, but I'll be reading only verse 8 because of time, and also Daniel chapter 3, verse 17 to 18. I'll be reading only verse 18 because of time. And I read, "But Daniel said in his mind that he would not divide himself with the portion of the king's meat or his wine." Daniel chapter 3, verse 18. "Let this be known to you, O king, that we will not worship your gods or the image of the gold you have set up." We have read from the book of Daniel, chapter 1, verse 5 to 15, but I've only read verse 8 and Daniel chapter 3, verse 17 to 18. Make sure you read the whole chapter so that you understand what I'm talking about. From where we have read, this happened during the Babylonian exile when Israelites were held captive in Babylon. The Babylonian exile was a period in the 6th century when the ancient Israelites were conquered by the Babylonian Empire and were forcefully deported to Babylon, where they were held captive for approximately 70 years. So during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar, the king needs handsome, good-looking, eloquent, intelligent, and energetic young men who will work in his palace. So he sent messengers across the Babylon. So after the selection, Daniel and his friends were among the youth, the people that were selected. They were to be taught and trained for good 3 years before they can be allowed to work in the king's palace. Not only that, they were also allowed to eat the king's meal. The food that was meant for the king was what they were also allowed to eat. But something happened. From where we have read, Daniel chapter 1, verse 8. Daniel had in his mind that he is not going to defile himself with the king's meal. So he asked the messengers that they should be giving him and his friends only vegetable. At the end of the day, they looked fresher and they were allowed to work in the king's palace. Not only that, there was a law in the Babylonian Empire that everyone living in the Babylon must not worship any other god except their gods. Daniel refused to to worship their gods, and one day he was caught worshiping the Almighty God. So they were brought to the king. And king asked them, instructed them to worship the idol in his presence. If not, they will be thrown into the fire. And Daniel said something. Daniel chapter 3, verse 17 to 18, where we have read. He said something in the presence of the king. Let this be known to you, O king. We will not worship your gods or the image of the gold you have set up. If our God can save us from your hand, it's okay. But if he does not save us, know this king,